Hello guys, and welcome to part 2 of what PC specs you would need to simulate the universe. Before I start this video, I will give you a quick disclaimer. I am in no means an electrical engineer, and my full extent of knowledge and CPUs are from watching Minecraft Redstone. So, be prepared for some very weird or strange numbers, and a lot of guessing. Anyways, in my previous video, I explained the total number of particles in the universe and how much RAM it would take up. However, I got the numbers wrong, because I forgot to include 3 dimensions of coordinates. And additionally, there would be no need to store potential energy. So, the RAM would actually have 258 bytes and take up this many cubic meters. Next, we need to know how the PC would calculate each particle. Since each coordinate has 27 bytes, the CPU would need to be at least 216-bit in order to calculate all the digits. And because the closest CPU to 216-bit is 256-bit, let's make the CPU 256-bit. The CPU would be divided into 2 sections, one to update the position and energy of each particle, and the other to process interactions of particles, influencing things like particle creation, annihilation, and velocity. First, let's find out how big the first part would be. To update a particle's coordinates based on a particle's velocity, the PC would need to use this formula. The logic gate circuit to calculate the formula would look something like this. Assuming each CPU function required this many transistors, there would be a total of 85,343,211 transistors. Next, the CPU would need to calculate the kinetic and potential energy. They would use this formula, and take up 458,752 transistors. Because kinetic energy uses mass, we have to give the computer values for the masses of all fundamental particles. Because every particle in the universe would need to be calculated in every clock cycle, there would be a total of this many transistors. Next, we will have to calculate particle interactions. Because I am too stupid to do the math, I will assume that for every proton and neutron, there are interactions that can happen at any moment. So, I will give the second part of the CPU 9.656890824 times 1080 spaces to perform calculations. And because I am even more stupid, I will assume that there are around 1 million or so transistors in each space. So, there would be a total of 9.656890824 times 1086 transistors. In total, the full CPU would contain this many transistors. I will also assume that the CPU has a clock speed of 1 cycle every Planck second. In our world, this would be physically impossible, but it might work in whatever plane of existence our PC will be running in. Anyways, assuming that the volume of circuit wires are around 50 times more than the volume of transistors, and that each transistor has a volume of 185 nanometers cubed, the total volume of the CPU would be this many meters cubed. Next, assuming that our PC would not need to store anything, since it isn't necessary to store anything in a simulation, we would not need SSD. Though it would be cool if we could have a snapshot of the universe at every moment, that would do nothing but make our PC even more impractical than before. So, our final hardware to focus on is the power supply. The massive and extremely fast CPU would use up to this number of watts at full capacity. The CPU is so powerful that a single clock cycle would use up 100 billion times more energy than the total amount in the observable universe. And keep in mind, the CPU has a clock speed of 1 Planck time. If we want to keep the PC running for a year, we would have to have a power supply with this number of joules, the equivalent of 1.5 times 1063 universes. So yeah, if you don't count the other parts of a computer, then these would be the PC specs that could simulate our universe. Or at least something like it. See you next time, and bye.